Hi, this is Steve from LZ23 Strength, and we are live outside. Hopefully, the rain don't hit us. It's thundering a little bit, but this episode needed to be outside. Sorry for the shakiness, but I don't know if you can hear that. It's sunny, but there's some thunder going. Anyways, we're outside today, and we are talking about walking. I know we've talked about it a little bit in other episodes, but I want walking to be their superpower. I'll start off by telling you a friend of mine at work that sometimes I've quoted him before, and he likes hearing these things. He says, "What's the big deal with walking? That's what humans do." But it's truly the studies and research shows many powerful effects and benefits that it has for us, and that's what we're going to talk about today, as far as walking. Now, some of the health benefits are obvious. They're physical, it's good for your heart, it's good for bone building and bone strength. There's mood enhancement, it's good to help us sleep better. Creativity, if you're an artist or a musician, going for a walk before you begin creating can have a great impact. I think you could probably see them clouds up there now and hear the cracks of thunder. But one of the big things about walking is being outside. Mentioned before in other episodes that we spend way too much time inside, and just to breathe fresher air. I just heard in a podcast recently that even though we think outside there's a lot of pollution, still inside our houses there's more pollution than outside. So it's good to get outside and get some fresh air. So the thing with walking, we've talked about steps before, and the research shows that 7,000 to 10,000 is kind of a sweet spot. Some of the benefits keep going as you go higher, but then sometimes they plateau kind of at that level. So we'd have to have some kind of tracker, whether it's your Fitbit, Apple Watch, some kind of tracker to see your steps. Because if we just do it by, I walked a lot today, you'd be surprised if you do track it that you're way below what you thought. It's kind of like people who kind of are watching their calories, and they think that they're doing pretty good with what they ate. But then it turns out that they ate a lot more than they thought once they added up the calories. So the same thing can happen with walking. I'm not used to doing this in public, if you can't tell. Somebody pulled up back there and gets me a little nervous. I'm still fairly new at this, and hope you bear with me with it's only my second time with this stick, so we'll try to get better as we get out there. But getting back to the walking, what I recommend is to get an early start. If you're going to shoot for the 10,000 steps, is to try to get 5,000 first thing in the morning. That way you can break up in two other sessions, 2,500 maybe midday and 2,500 later at night. All depends on your schedule, your health, your goals, but definitely try to get an early start. I've always had that strategy for everything, working out and everything in general, try to get an early start. Something to keep in mind when you're walking is, again, depending on your health situation and your goals, your age, your body, you can do things like walk hills. If you're walking on a treadmill at the gym, put it on the incline. Also, wouldn't be bad to wear a vest. I would start off with a 5 or 10 pound, but there's heavier ones. I've got a 20 pound. And some people also, if you've ever heard of rucking, they get a rucking sack. Some will put on a very weighty rucking sack and go hiking on trails. That's another thing to incorporate, trying to be creative, because maybe walking every day is boring to some folks. kind of my friend that I mentioned at the beginning, that it's something we do, and you might not necessarily feel the benefits, but all the research and studies show that there is definitely benefits. Even one of the studies talked about mortality risk going down like 50% for people who get 10,000 steps or more. That's pretty significant, and that's from all causes of death going down 50%. So it's worth having that in our arsenal. You can walk alone. You can listen to a podcast. You can listen to music. You can just enjoy the sounds of nature, of thunder, birds singing. All things are possible when you're out here, and you walk with a friend, your spouse, your dog. But I would encourage a variety. If you're walking, set goals. Don't leave it to chance that you think you move a lot through the day. And then you can incorporate other aspects of walking. I'm going to talk about a couple of those. The weighted vest. You don't have to do the weighted vest the whole time. I guess if you start with a lighter weight, you could even have ankle weights on, 3-pound ankle weights. It's not too much if you start with that. But as you get more advanced, some things that you can incorporate would be backwards walking. You might think that sounds silly, but there's actually scientific evidence of benefits of backward walking. Now, obviously, I don't know if you can see behind me, it's a straight path. That's what you'd want to do. I mean, we've got to be super careful if you're going backwards, because tripping and falling, remember, we've talked about in other videos, our whole aim is to not get hurt, whatever we're doing for our health. So walking backwards is a phenomenal exercise and benefits us in so many ways. It helps our balance, our gait. If you have any knee issues, it can alleviate pain. It can alleviate lower back pain. So there's numerous benefits. Some people can do it at the gym on the treadmill. Again, I would caution to start slow and obviously hang on to the rails as you're doing it, and to the side handles rather. But it's another way to intensify and add to the benefits of walking. As I said, use an incline if you're going to be walking forward. I don't think on doing the reverse walking you want to do that, but do an incline. You can do some stairs. You can add some hills. If you go to a trail where there's some hilly areas, but a little more advanced for folks, but aim for minimum 7,000 and shooting for 10,000. Now, one more aspect regarding walking is there's something called the Japanese method, and it's kind of like an interval training where you walk 3 minutes at a very intense pace, raising your heart rate, where your talking is kind of difficult, and then 3 minutes at a normal pace. I heard one suggestion where you walk 3 minutes at a normal pace, and then 1 minute or so walking like you're super late for a very important appointment. So you might not think, hey, I can't walk too fast, but if you were really late for something very important, you'd be surprised how you would move. Might look a little funny, but definitely can get some benefits. So the Japanese interval method has gained a lot of popularity, and it's not something that you have to do all the time, but nice ways to change things up. And that's what we like to do as far as workouts in general, but even something as simple as walking. Try to make it interesting, something that you're going to do all the time, and that's why I think outside is a great way. Now, I live somewhere where we're almost in fall, and when winter comes, it's not going to be walking outside. So me and my wife walk in our basement. And for me to try to make it a little more intense, I'll incorporate some jumping jacks every time we walk. Our basement's good size. It's not huge, but it's a really, really good size, and basically can do a whole loop around it. And sometimes I'll walk up the stairs, about 17, 18 stairs. Oftentimes I'll wear the vest for a while, or I'll load up, I'll put ankle weights and the vest, sometimes carry dumbbells or kettlebells. That's another aspect I really didn't talk about, because it's not something you do for distance, but if you're mixing it up, perhaps you've heard of the farmer's walk or the farmer's carry. You can carry heavy dumbbells or heavy kettlebells, and again, that's not for distance. That's you're kind of melting two things together because grip strength is important. We've talked about before. It's an indicator for longevity. So mixing that in, if you have to do it at home, maybe you can't always get outside or you can't always get to the gym, whatever you can do around the house, walk around, and you can totally benefit from that. What else we got here? Again, you want to be careful. You want to speak to your doctor depending on your age and your health situation, but you can do it. We all can do it. And it's just setting goals. Some of the statistics show that so many people are sedentary and are getting basically 4,000 or 5,000 steps a day, and that's considered sedentary. And if you're getting less than that, it's pretty sad. So keep that in mind. I'm going to start heading back the other way in case the rain starts to come down on us. It's getting darker and louder. So let's make our way back in haste. So I hope this got you thinking to see if you can set some goals. Just remember that we exert ourselves, we elevate our health, we evolve in mind and body. And maybe if you have any thoughts on your walking routine, you want to share them with our community, you can leave a comment. But please hit the like button and don't forget to subscribe. And we'll be talking, there's always more and more things coming out regarding walking. And I only talked about a few of the benefits in detail. I'm sure you're aware of them. People are able to lose weight, build muscle. So many benefits that they're not dramatic, but they definitely can make a huge difference. I'm starting to feel some raindrops. They might be on the screen. So I'm going to bid farewell. Remember, subscribe, keep walking. Let that be your superpower. We'll talk to you soon.